Yes.
Now, I'd like us to talk about what happened
Yes.
after you were vaccinated for COVID-19, because
Yes.
this is really what really touched my heart. You
Yeah.
know, I know that right now this is what is going on in the country,
Yeah.
and we have those who have reservations.
Yes.
There's so many theories flying around as
Yeah.
well, of people not knowing as to whether if you have an underlying condition you need to be vaccinated or not.
Yeah.
You obviously had another condition, which was cancer and all this, and then the vaccination came, and from how you described it, then hell broke loose. Tell us about
Yeah.
that.
That was very interesting because, you know, it was very confusing at the beginning of the year when they tell us people with underlying condition should be the ones to be vaccinated. And I think the elderly, if you remember at the beginning, it was the elderly and then those with underlying conditions and so forth to protect you. Because you see, you already have a condition. So if you get corona, so the risk of going was, yes. So, but I took time, because I was dealing at the time they were vaccinating everybody else. That time I was dealing with a H. pylori condition, which also took me down. Actually, I didn't know it is a very dangerous bacteria and it can make you go very fast. Actually, I know like 2 people who have gone from that H. pylori in just about 10 days. Because what that bacteria does, it eats your wall, and then I think you get sepsis. It eats your colon wall, and then now the food or whatever goes into your bloodstream. And then it's also very painful. So what happens? Your food, the food that you eat, is not digested. So it's either thrown out, up or down. And it is so painful. Anyway, so I was battling that in March to June. So when I finished is when I took the vaccine. Because I've been told not to mix, because I was H. pylori will take 84 tablets. And then again still another dose to clear the acidity of the earlier tablets. So when I finished, I now took this vaccine. AstraZeneca, and I'm like, okay, 3 days, no headache, no problem. On the, I think the next weekend, I started getting more funny headaches. I started having abdominal pains. I'm like, Sasa, what is happening? And backache, very painful. I was feeling like my back is going to break. I couldn't bend to take anything. So I said, do I go to see the doctor or what? Anyway, I called him. He said, you come. I went. He's an oncologist. Before the date now he had given me, because he was going for holidays in India, before the date I went, I started bleeding. So it's like, what? But I give very strong chemo. Because what happens when you are 40 and whatever age, when you get cancer, the chemo you're supposed to be given is supposed to throw you to menopause immediately. So that now your ovaries and whatever, your reproductive organs stop the activity.
Because if they're active, then
yes,
the
the cancer will come back. Because they will continue to feed the cancer. They are fed by the hormones. So he said the chemo we give you responded so well.
Yes.
I'm really surprised. And because I'm going on holiday, I will recommend to see a guy. Because now this one is mambo reproductive. Then before I come back, we'll see how far you've gone with whatever he said. So now I started journeying with a guy. And he wrote ultrasound, mammogram, all those tests that we usually do first to check whether there are issues with the reproductive. Anyway, I did them. And at the end of it all, the guy said, for me, I do not know. Unless now, merudi msichana, na kama uko na bwana uwe careful, you might get a baby at the age of 55. But I told him, Daktari, no, this is not normal period. Yeah. Because I remembered, of course, the normal period takes 3 days.
Yes.
And then it's not, this was a period that is not normal. First of all, the way it comes, it's very painful. And then it comes in blocks.
Yeah, I know.
Yes. Then, the funny thing, there are times it will also come without pain. So therefore, I can be here with you right now, and it starts flowing. Especially if I
know, that is why I really wanted us to do this story.
Yes.
I mean,
because
this is not something we might be able to show you.
Yes.
But literally, it got to a point Jane had to take a picture of what was happening to her, and she sent it to me. And you know, I just felt we
because
need
now
to talk
it had
about
happened
this.
like 1 June, then it came back again July, 6 times. And then now this time before I took the picture, you know, I was outside and there was a small girl in front of me. I didn't even realize I was bleeding. So I was tending to my hands And the girl said, Auntie, Angalia, a small, I think she's in 01. You know, and then a man happened to be nearby. So you can imagine all this stigma.
Just
you know you are there, and then that time you have a big headache. I was feeling dizzy. I actually felt I'll fall. So when I actually called the doctor, he said, you know, now you've been losing this blood for the last 6 years. I mean 6 months. So there is a possibility the blood may not have enough strength to flow to the head. Hence the dizziness. Then now this time I got scared. I got scared. I read a bit about it. I hear the whole adenomyosis, because the mammograms and ultrasound are done. Earlier we're talking of endometriosis, adenomyosis, but me I thought these are conditions which will go. So I didn't thought it can be something so serious. But now when it happened again now the 6th time, the same way I said no. Now this one I need to get help.
yeah.
And the worst thing about it is that yes, because of the history of cancer, you can't take for granted it is period or it is just your, what they were calling it now is menorrhagia. It is periods that come after menopause, which is not rare, which is not.
And this is so non-stop, you know. I mean, 6 months.
Yes.
What?
Like now, since I sent you that, which was I think on 11 to date, I'm still on.
It's still on.
Yeah, you can't even. You know, you can't even
This is
use
so.
pads.
This is so
I used to
painful.
before. I used to use pads when I was a small girl. Then I went to tampons. Now I can't use those things. I have to use diapers. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
You see,
This is real. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, one wouldn't even lie about this. It is so, and me, I saw it literally in the pictures.
Yes.
That is why I really wanted you to
Yeah.
get to listen, to get to see
Yes.
Jane as she gets to talk about this, because there could be other people out there who perhaps have not talked about this. And again, we need to have these conversations so that, you know, it is talked about. We have people with underlying conditions, probably they're having this vaccine, and if nobody talks about this, then, you know, even the country might not know we are having a problem. Perhaps if they look into this and find out that something could go wrong, then a few things could be changed. So, you know, I'm just liking the fact that this will go out there publicly, and so that this can start a conversation. I have also looked at you know, some of those websites you were telling me about, and how we have other people as well who are actually sharing on what has happened to them after this. So it's actually good to get to listen to these stories and find out what's really happening. So
when it happens,
yes,
there is need to move fast.
Yeah.
To their doctor, because like that I had somebody almost had to take me to hospital. Actually, in fact I had to spend 1 hour, because if you don't, you can collapse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then now this
And
collapsing.
bleeding is not something we can joke about, because you're losing your blood.
You are losing your blood,
And
you
it's
become
a lot,
anemic.
you know.
I already have a condition of cancer with a lot of chemotherapy.
Yeah.
So if I start now getting anemic, or what, my bones will stop producing the blood that is required.
Okay.
And if the cancers are in remission, the cancer cells are in remission, without the right blood to protect myself, you see, they take advantage and now go somewhere else. So that's the point we are at, and we are doing all these tests to check. But also after listening, we don't just take for granted it is periods. If there is need, that's why I felt, because I'd have gone to India several times, and I know there is a very special machine at Apollo called PET MRI. I felt it was good to check whether
what is really going
what is going on inside there.
Okay.
Because you tell me endometriosis inside, you tell me adenomyosis outside. Both of them are problematic, and they are causing me to have very bad menorrhagia, and that's why.
But whichever way it came after the vaccine,
after
so
the
it could have you know, touched on something that triggered this to actually happen.
Yeah.
Now, thank you so much for sharing with us your story. This is such a private matter, and you know, just being out here and being able to talk about it, because you know, this is a pain that so many people could be going through. It is good that we get to share, so that this conversation is ongoing, and perhaps, you know, some help can be found. Now, because of this, Jane will actually be traveling to India, so she can get to go through, you know, finding out what is really going on. Like I told you, even when she was coming here, she was just coming from doing some tests. The last 3 days we've been trying to do this interview, and she's been, let me use it, hopping from one hospital to another. She goes to this one, she's sent to this other one, and so, you know, we were just patient to get to have to do this interview, and so she's she's really out to go to India so that it can be checked, fully on what is happening. So let's talk about you going to India, what is going to happen there. And of course, she was also asking for financial assistance. You've never really gotten to that point in your life where now you need the money. And that is why I would really love to, she just told you her story. She's gone through so much, 7 surgeries and all this, and her type of cancer is not even the one with, she's got anything to take, she's just been trying everything all over the place. So let's try, together and just help her out, that she may go for this surgery. Tell us what is going to happen in India, and then of course give us your pay bill so that our viewers can also be a part of your medication, so that we can help one very strong cancer survivor. We celebrated her 7 years, and for me, this journey has got to be on. Yeah,
so that we can also give hope to others. Yeah, that's important. And before I mention about what I'll go to India, let me say that when I got breast cancer, for some reason, I think even I came to you in your studios, in KBC, I've gone to several stations and spoken about it.
Yes.
I never felt embarrassed or what.
Yeah.
But this one, I've had to think twice. I think menorrhagia or hemorrhage is really another condition altogether. It comes with a lot of stigma, and especially then again, you don't even know what is the cause or what is happening there. That is the biggest challenge. But I would like to encourage women out there, when you're going through such a condition, don't keep it to yourself. Talk it out. You may not maybe necessarily get this opportunity, but you can talk to your neighbor, you can talk to your sisters, and they'll advise you. Now, what scared me when I told a few people, they said, hey, unajua utatolewa uterus yote, ovaries nini, and you become a man. Now again I started getting scared. So I said, what do you mean you become a man? But when they remove the ovaries, which now produce the estrogen produces things that make you a woman and so forth, keep you young and so forth. But when they remove that, the ovaries, so that means, according to now this, let me call them mama's tails. Yeah, mama's tails. Yes. So now you develop beards, you'll have a deep voice. Yes.
Like
you'll have a deep voice. Yes. That I'll just become a show very fast,
Yeah.
So now again, that's another thing I've been dealing with in the last 3 months. Trying to hope, do I remove it? Do I look at options? So others are telling me, don't remove the ovaries, you get an injection that there's an injection where they can inject you and the ovaries stop being active. So they don't have to be removed. But since I have the history of cancer, if they are not removed and the problem comes back again, I'll be back there. Then I'll be talking about the 9th surgery and the 10th. I don't want. You see?
Yes.
So I told them, after listening and all that, I think I've made the decision. I'd rather remove it, because the people that I've seen going through reproductive cancer treatment of the lower part is very painful. Very painful, that's number one, because you need to do so many chemicals, you need to do radiotherapy, and you need to do something else called brachytherapy, which is done inside, and it's so painful, you can't walk and everything. So I said, before I do anything, I need to go to India to understand, is it just normal period? Is it now that whatever has been caused by the AstraZeneca or whatever part of my body that has misbehaved? Could it be the cancer has moved again from the breast to the ovaries or the uterus? You see, now all these things have to be checked. One of my tests showed the ultrasound that I have adenomiasis, which means there are growths that grow outside the uterus. Another one shows endometriosis, which is growths that grow inside. And these growths have made my uterus double the size. So instead of being 1.5, it is 2.59, and it is still growing. So these growths, for how long am I going to sit there? When I was a very young girl, maybe in campus, a lady with a big stomach. So I asked another lady, a friend of mine, that mama, what's wrong? Hey, she has cancer. She has a big tumor in her stomach, and it can't be done surgery. Because as you see, cancer reaches a point where you can't do surgery. Yeah, when the tumor is so big, they can't remove, because if they cut, it will kill you immediately. So rather handle it. So instead of me reaching there, ikue growth at inakatuna alafu ikue cancerous. Ama maybe even as we are talking now, I don't know, it could be, God forbid. But I said, let us rule out that the cancer may have moved from here. I do that test, it's called a PET MRI. It's a machine that is superior than the PET scan. which is in Aga Khan, because it is able to detect the cancer cells when they are very small, whether they are in the brain, in the lungs, in whichever part of the body, they will be able to be detected. And then once that is done, depending on what the outcome is, then we'll go to the next level. It's a very expensive machine. It's $1,000 US, it's 120 or something, depending on the donor. But before that, we also need to do other tests, blood tests, cancer markers. There are tests we do to check the cancer in the breast, cancer in the ovaries, and all those tests in total can be well over 200. But they are very important because before somebody cuts you, they should be able to establish how you are
and be very sure.
And be very sure. Then also that can advise them, now do we do chemo, do we do radio, what do we do, what's in the
I would love you to have that because, you know, just like I've said, the last 3 days you've been in and out of hospitals, going here for this test and that. I think it would be really good if you just go and do one test that will find, you know, and you'll even help us back in Kenya to get to establish really what's going on. So if you just tell us you have a pay bill?
Yes, I have a pay bill.
Okay.
Yes.
Please do tell our viewers about the pay bill, how they can get
Okay, so I'm very grateful because Safaricom has given me this pay bill and it will help me to fundraise. And as I said, you know me and you know my history, so it's not something we are just doing it for the sake of. If you are, for me to have survived that 7 years, I've even sold, leave alone help from friends. I've had to sell all my clothes, the few that I have bought. So because you know, even friends help you, then you always have to add, especially at the beginning. It's very expensive. So I really don't have much, and in fact, if it wasn't like for my mom's house, I may not even have somewhere. Anyway, just to say that I really appreciate, and the pay bill is 514422. 514422. And the account number is better to put your name. So if you are Millicent, you put Millicent. If Jane Francis, you put Jane Francis, because the account number of the bank is too long. But once you put your name, already once you use that pay bill in Safaricom, it's in my bank already. So there's no worries or security issues. Then for those who may have the same challenges or may prefer even to use my Safaricom number, it is 0722 369 389. 0722 369 389. But what I like to say is that I like to journey with patients who have cancer. You know, there are many people who keep quiet. They are told they have it and they keep quiet. One, they don't have money. And they think if I sell my cow or my plot, what will happen to my children? Don't think about that. Think about your health first. God who gave the children will take care of everything.
Asante sana.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Millicent.
And I wish you well.
Asante sana.
I'm sure when you come back from India, we'll be having you here again. And we'll be having good news.
Thank you.
Asante sana. My name is Millicent Aroka. Thank you so much for tuning in to Aroka Media. This is Impact, where we get to have interviews that impact on your life. And of course, remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel so that we can get to bring you more stories like this one. We'll also have our number running there, so you can also share with us your story. You want to also support what we do, we'll have my number down there. And of course, you can support us. Thank you so much.